more so than I think any other time is when you're fishing them, you have to evaluate it. Look at there, 5-pounder. I mean, it's our job to hook him. It's our job to hook him and I miss him. He's got it. Thought it was a spot. As I was saying, sometimes the deeper docks are getting the spot. Hey guys, Jason Christie here. Today we're going to talk about fishing boat docks. Boat docks is one of my favorite things to fish for a lot of reasons. One, you can just think of a boat dock as like a giant, I mean, it's just a big giant ambush point. One of the things I really like about it is you can't cover everything. What I mean by that is, you know, if I see somebody go through a pocket in front of me or whatever, it doesn't bother me because I know that there's fish that live in there that you can't access, you know, by casting a lot of the docks. I think a fish really feels safe around a boat dock. So when I'm fishing them, you know, there's a lot of different lures that you can use. I prefer a jig when I can get away with it because I just feel like a jig is going to catch, you know, those bigger fish. But I've caught bass on boat docks from jigs to jerk baits, spinner baits, vibrating jigs. I mean, you name it, you can catch them off of boat docks. Now the big question is what makes a boat dock, you know, one different from another? You know, a lot of lakes, there'll be thousands of boat docks. How do you pick one out? That's really something that you just have to, you know, you have to experiment and fish until you get a bite, and then you can build a pattern on that. You know, some of the patterns that I've figured out over the years, you know, docks on points, docks in the back of the pockets, shallow docks, deep docks. You cannot usually go wrong with a dock that has brush around it. So you have to fish some and get some bites before you can actually build it. And I'm really picky when I'm fishing boat docks to evaluate the bite. And what I mean by that is when I pitch or when I make a cast, no matter what it is, did that fish bite? Was he suspended? Was he on bottom? Was he on brush? That's how you're able to carry and really dial your baits in. You know, obviously if the fish are on bottom, you're gonna want a shaky head or a jig or something like that. And you know, if they're up, you can swim a jig, swim bait. I mean, the options are limitless, really. But the key thing is to evaluate it. You know, today we're out here fishing and it's, you know, it's cloudy, but one of the things I always try to think about is the shade. You know, because that a lot of times that's where they want to be so they can hide and ambush. Where they're at on the dock, are they on the outside corner? Are they under the walkway? And the key thing about that is it can change any given time and any given day. You know, looking at this dock here, you know, there's not a lot of walkway options. And typically what happens is, as a general rule, you know, in the spring, they're gonna be behind it, you know, up underneath the walkway, more so than out on the outside corners. You get in the fall and in the summertime, a lot of times I'm gonna look for, you know, the deeper docks and generally they're gonna be out there on the outside corners. So the biggest thing, more so than I think any other time is when you're fishing them, you have to evaluate it. Look at there, 5-pounder. That right there, I mean, I didn't catch him, obviously, he followed my jig out, but that's the biggest thing about fishing boat docks is being able to take that bite and being able to apply it to other docks and develop a pattern and be able just to run around the lake. And another thing I like about boat docks is I feel like, you know, there's some casts that people are scared to make because they're gonna get hung up or maybe they can't make it. You know, they can't skip it way back, you know, underneath the pontoon or something like that. So that's where I kind of got some confidence. Hey, you know, I feel like I can get this bait in places where a lot of people can't get it. But don't be scared to get it in there in some of those tight places. I mean, it's our job to hook him. It's our job to hook him and I miss him. It's their job to get off. You know what I mean? I mean, like, you can't lose a fish that you never hook. And That's kind of how I look at it. But as far as the shade, you know, the time of day, I pull into this dock, I get a bite or two at 2 o'clock. You know, the shade may be out in front. I come back the next morning, you know, I don't get a bite, or I run a set of docks and I'm not getting bites. Well, you have to think about it. Well, maybe it's a late afternoon dock where it shades the deeper water and those fish are there. There's a lot of things to think about when fishing boat docks. My uncle and I were fishing a tournament, and it was just a line of boat docks. And I pitched into one, and when I reeled out, here come a 5-pounder. Well, this 5-pounder had a black spot right on the top of his head. I mean, you couldn't miss him. So I told my uncle, I said, let's leave, we'll come back, let him regroup, we'll come back in an hour or two. And that's a really good point that I'm about to make. Is we came back in an hour or two, we pulled into that dock, didn't catch him, and actually just took off down the line of docks. I caught that same fish 15 docks down an hour later. So even though a lot of fish live under these boat docks, they'll swim around. I mean, so the school, or there may be some under this dock one day, and for some reason the current's different or the bait's moved back. The next day they may move down there, or the afternoon they may move down there. So I really think a lot of the bigger fish in the lake, they live under boat docks, they're protected. There's always brush, not always brush, there's always shade, there's always places for them to live. Always places for them to ambush food. God, these are deep. He's got it. Thought it was a spot. There's about 50 of them underneath there. As I was saying, sometimes the deeper docks are good in the spring.